And we're on. What's wrong with your tea?
Burnt the roof of my mouth again on something. I think it was the pizza. Anywho, as I was saying, I've got a cedar. I am happy. 1 gig down.
This is you stealing
television from 2014.
and hoping that someone else is wishing to facilitate this stealing. I'm going to be really annoying and stick my body on this so I can see what's going on here. Yes, eventually I will buy some equipment so I don't have to.
Anyway, so welcome back to the, what's it called?
The Doc Day Drinking Podcast, where this doctor hasn't drunk anything on it yet.
No. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, Christ.
What'd you get me?
Misery, strife, penury.
The usual. You didn't get me anything?
No.
Oh, well.
Okay. What were you expecting from me?
I know it's not our thing.
Not our thing. Not our thing's an understatement. I once bought you 173 acres for your birthday.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
It happened to coincide roughly around my birthday.
I once happened to buy a car that also roughly coincided with your birthday.
True. We don't really do gifts, do we?
No, apart from real property and
if you want something,
new
then
vehicles.
We usually just
just go
buy
and
it.
Yeah, like
so.
Christ. If you've been, no, just no.
There's a lot of Valentine shit this year, though, I noticed. Well, I think there's more anyway. I'm not sure if that's a...
In terms of what, like in the shops?
Yeah. Like all my emails this morning were all Valentine's stuff.
What's that besides chocolates and roses? And
no, they've rebranded. Have you not seen this?
No, I have. You'll be shocked to realise that no, I haven't.
So I've got my finger on the pulse for this. Not really.
Finger in something.
So it's... So it's Valentine's Day. It's also Galentine's Day, which is when I think you're single but you're a chick. And then there's... Gal, as in gal. Guys and gals. Galentine.
I hear gal and I think gal is in galvanised iron.
No. So guys and gals. Gals. American.
Galentine's Day.
Galentine's. I've heard that one before.
So what does...
But I thought it was a different day.
Is there a Browentine's Day?
That I don't know.
No, they can get fucked.
And it's also something like Singles Appreciation Day or something for all the sad fucks that feel like they're left out. It's like, why does everyone have to get a ribbon? Like,
why can't they have their own day?
That's what I mean. I think there is.
Oh, God.
But I'm not going to Google it.
And why does it have to be... No.
I'll get all sorts of shit if I start Googling that. It's already listening to me.
I will filter the network for packets.
But yes, I did. So there was like 4
items.
different things on today's one of the various emails that I got about coming out for dinner tonight, even if you're this, or this.
Is there a flag?
Probably.
I hope so.
Which gender is it?
Yeah.
Of the 143,000
with a
genders.
hand on it with a big finger.
But yes, as I said, I have noticed a lot more marketing. So obviously the retail has dipped a bit, and they're trying to pull it back up with
anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like
inflation.
That's
Nobody's got any money.
Mother's Day and Father's Day, which again, you and I being deliberately barren, that's something that we will not be enjoying. But it's so cynical when it's like equally spaced between sort of. In the quarters where you got Christmas.
My people invented that.
Yeah, of course. Coca-Cola did Christmas, and then you've got, Father's Day and Mother's Day sort of conveniently spread throughout the year, that's the American.
It's here now.
Thanksgiving stuff, and oh no, we couldn't shop for 2 days. Oh. So here I am on camera going, I won't just sit here rubbing my eyes and fiddling around with myself and fail. Anyway. Right, okay, so it's Valentine's Day. Yes, well, I did see somebody on Twitter saying, good luck to all the my thoughts are with the hospitality industry, and I read that and I thought, has there been an explosion? Was there a crash?
Thoughts and prayers.
Basically. And I said, what's happened? And it was just like, just Valentine's Day. And it's like, okay, well.
So it's a Tuesday, so that'll be good. So if people...
If you're going to have thoughts and prayers... It'd be thoughts and prayers for the fucking florist industry. That would be the pain. Oh yeah, there's obviously the biggest day of the year today would be today.
But yeah, so I think a lot of people go out for dinner.
As I say, the rest of the time they're just preying on people to die or husbands to fuck around on their wives. You know, here's all these flowers like, who'd you fuck?
Well, the boy next to me yesterday at the checkouts, he had a big bunch of red roses, and I gave him a big smile because, tradie, like full tradie.
That would be the I fucked someone else.
No.
Oh, really?
He
was too sweet, was he? He couldn't, butter wouldn't melt in his mouth.
He looked nice. So, had a card and everything. So go
Who do you get to write on it for him?
You only had one. It's when you see them buying multiple bunches, you're like, oh, Jesus, dude. One for my girlfriend over here, one for that girlfriend.
Didn't I say that once
when
I saw that? I walked past that florist there that had a lot, and I was saying, I want to go and get a bunch of, how much do you want to spend? It's like, I fucked a Polish mistress. That's how much I want to spend, like. Yeah,
I forgot to do the dishes. I did this. Oh, dear.
Yeah. I gave my wife the clap. I wonder if they've got some sort of chart where they're like, right, okay, you're kind of between here and here. So which way do you
come out the back? What's that one? There's a skit where they say, "Oh God, all right, come out the back."
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, you bring your truck around the back. I'm going to have to go and mow the Netherlands.
So I do like flowers. Apparently, I just throw them out though. You don't buy me flowers anymore.
No.
I don't remember this at all.
No. So the very quick story. I bought a really nice orchid thing and I took it there and you looked at it and went, oh yeah, what do I want that for? And chucked it in the fucking bin, Condensing it slightly.
I don't remember that at all.
I've shown you where I bought it, from whom I purchased it and all the rest of it.
Because I like orchids.
Well, you didn't like that one.
Apparently not. Maybe it was because it was from you.
Yeah, I'd say that was definitely the case.
Anywho.
There's been a few cases like that, and you go, well, I don't get that. And I said, because you were rude and belligerent the last time I did it, so you can fuck off. And I...
Must have been someone else.
No. I keep grudges like an elephant, and,
So, and my memory's like a sieve.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho,
yes.
So yeah.
Selective for things like that.
So that was one thing on my this morning's thing.
What else did you have?
The only other thing, oh God, I don't even know what it is now. Something to do with Indigenous people.
Oh God.
There's some kind of hearing or report that's come out. Anyway, the snippet of it that stuck with me, they've got $150 million across 4 years for access to drinking water for remote Indigenous communities. Is one of the things which...
Do they drink water?
Again, the other things all seemed quite reasonable.
It's like me in a restaurant. It's like, would you like a glass of water?
Getting kids out of foster care and improving education, and rah, rah, rah. But I don't... Okay, I need someone to explain this to me. So...
Am I the right person?
I don't know. Someone, anyone.
All right.
Okay, so drinking water for remote Indigenous communities. Why are you there if you don't have drinking water? That means nature is telling you should not be there.
This is the Sam Kinison bit, remember?
No.
So Sam Kinison did a bit. This was one of his bits on Letterman. So you remember who Sam Kinison is?
Yes.
Yelling.
Yes.
They're still fucking you in the ass!
Yeah.
That's Sam Kinison. And yes, his whole bit was like... Because it was like 1986, 87, around then. So, what was the Live Aid and everything was still pretty big, and Save the Children and all those sorts of things. Lead singer of Ultravox was the unsung hero of all of that. I was listening to Ultravox last night.
No idea.
Bob Geldof he was the front man, but
Geldof.
It was Midge Ure doing most of the legwork.
No.
Anyway. Anyway, so there was that, and Kinison's whole bit was, don't send food, send buses. Take them to where the fucking food is! You're living out there in the middle of nowhere. You know what you see? Oh, there's no food!
That's what I mean. So I'm like, can someone please explain to me?
And I did a terrible job of that.
Why?
Go and watch it.
So, why are you there? And if they all bang on about, which, what is it called? This is my country, like this is where my people, blah, 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 blah. Connection to country or whatever it is, I don't know. But
we tread very carefully.
It can't be there because you wouldn't be... Food and water. You need a food source and a water source.
Yeah.
So, and shelter. even if you go right back to
3
basics,
minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3
right
weeks.
back to basics. So that means you need to move, not we need to spend $150 million to get water to a point where people shouldn't be living in the first place.
I think if it shuts them up, $150 million is a great deal.
How many of them is it going to shut up?
Don't care.
But I guess what I mean. How many people are living in this remote communities?
So to be serious though,
I'm actually asking.
Oh yeah, and I'll give you a reasonable question. I would say. So here's the thing, right?
Could we not? Sorry, just to cut you off. Yeah. Could we not spend the $150 million to move them somewhere else and build them something that they want?
You would think so.
Anyway,
but my view to answer your question, right? So it is simply fact, by virtue of physiology, that they need water at the absolute least every 3 days.
Humans.
Humans.
Yeah, I was going to say, not just them,
no,
everyone.
Just everyone, right? You get some Kalahari bushman thing going, I don't know if he had a hump. But anyway, you need to drink, you need water constantly.
Yep.
You need a lot of water every day, especially when you're traipsing about in the middle of nowhere,
Hot.
right? That's odd. So that's just QED. No arguments. Have to. Nothing magical can happen there.
Mm-mm.
So you would expect, I would guess, from my vast experience in Aboriginal anthropology, like I don't really fucking know, but you would think from first principles, these guys are wandering about and they're in small groups, and they would go from place to place to place that has water.
Back in the day.
Yeah,
they're nomadic, of course.
And they would go from place because they're following food and they're following water, and they're also going about their business, doing whatever they're doing, right?
I agree.
Cool, bless them, more power to them. So what's obviously happened is maybe that place does have water, but it certainly doesn't have enough there to support the number of people there, because back in the day they wouldn't sit still.
Yeah, true. They wouldn't stay for that long.
So that's my only explanation where I go, all right, this bona fide absolutely is completely above board. This is a place where they used to go and find, it's your country, fill your boots. But you can't support 150 people or whatever is there, and they'll need to bring water in and all the rest of it. Okay, fine. It doesn't seem particularly sustainable.
Seems dumb.
It seems dumb.
That's what I mean. I don't have a problem spending the money, but how about we spend it on something that's not dumb? That was I was like, what?
I don't know. I don't like if I'm going to be completely reasonable about it, and this is me pretending to be reasonable, because of course the natural reaction is like, it's in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't make any fucking sense. You're not meant to be there.
Mother Nature's telling you to move the fuck on.
But let's try it from the other perspective, which is like, so what I was trying to say is that's my reaction, right? And to temper it, I'd need to go there. You'd need to go and you'd need to have a look, because I don't believe a word that comes out of either side on that argument.
No.
You'd need to go there, you'd need to have a look and just go, okay, so what's going on? Okay, yep, there's plenty of water there, but it's brackish or it needs processing. Okay, well that's a different story. Not a lot of a different story, mind you.
You're not meant to be there then.
But I look at $150 million as like, where's it being spent? How much of it's being? How efficient is it? Like, what's it being spent on?
How much is actually being put towards the water? If you're spending $50 million on a consultancy who comes up there and stands there and has a look at the water and goes, "Yeah, you can't drink that," then maybe not.
Give them out life straws at $2 a pop. So there you go. Knock yourself out.
Anyway,
I don't know. Most of what I've seen.
Can we not be dumb?
And this is where we go from the frying pan and into the fire. Most of the discussion I've seen this week, certainly on Twitter, around our Aboriginal friends, has been around, again, obviously the voice to Parliament and Peter Dutton
not attending the apology.
That was yonks ago, and now saying, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I guess I haven't seen it. But what all the left is, like the far left, is bitching about on Twitter on this subject is they're still removing children from them, and everybody, all the reasonable voices are going, because they've been abused. They're malnourished. They're physically and sexually abused. It's cut and dried. There's no question.
It's not about race.
It's absolutely not about race. It's about children being abused.
Safety,
and that's it. And so many people going, do you honestly think in this climate the government wants to just Like it's not
Wants
it's
to
not
remove
19
children,
it's not
yeah.
1947 where they're going
Yeah.
where there's a ideological we must
Absolutely.
integrate these people into society. That was, to all intents and purposes, looking back historically, seemed to be the wrong thing. Don't know if the opinion was different back then. Was it mostly around abuse? I would argue
I'd probably doubt it.
probably doubt it.
Yeah.
I think it was probably
Purely race-based.
purely race.
They weren't
It was
even considered as humans until, what, 1970-something?
late 60s.
Yeah,
We had a referenda then, and that's what they're trying to turn this voice into. But funnily enough, the late 60s referendum, everyone agreed with that. Like that was just a fucking check the box. Yep.
Yeah, of course they're
that
human.
had very, very, very widespread support.
Yeah.
And that also had. I am not a constitutional lawyer, so please do your homework on this. I think that also introduced, though, a bit of a bug, which allowed them to make separate laws for them, whereas before they weren't.
Why would you need separate laws for...
To be able to give $150 million to some randoms to build water in the middle of nowhere based purely on the colour of their skin.
Right.
Yeah, so that introduced...
I didn't know that.
I believe we will...
Dig into that, because that's ridiculous too.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that came out of that. I believe. Please, do your do your own research.
Are you part of the community, or are you not part of the community?
No, you're a special part of the community. Which is the different... That's the whole argument about equality versus equity. And again, for the record, equality for Aboriginals at this point would be unfair because the average bod is here, we're here, and they're here. So if we make
They're
them
starting
equality...
from behind.
Yeah, they're starting from behind. So we need to...
Yeah.
So the equity is like, let's just jack you up to here...
And then off you go.
And then all we go hand in hand from that point.
Yep.
So, depending on where you're starting from, is the size of the box you should be allowed to stand on to see over the fence.
Yeah.
Fine, but I mean, yeah, it just seems. But yeah, the problem is, I think it's the ideology grating against reality, and when the reality is drug and alcohol abuse, child abuse, doing nothing, and
Not always,
and it's,
again.
No, not always, but there seems to be an awful lot
There's
of
a
it.
higher percentage, yes.
And for all the reasons that you understand that if they got fucked over. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Can't turn back the clock.
Yep.
But what I'll say, and again, this isn't a fucking excuse for it all, but go read the original Captain Cook diaries.
Oh yeah, you enjoyed that, didn't you?
And I did enjoy it. And what's interesting, he refers to them as people. He's
right.
not referring to them as natives. He's like, we saw, it's like, this date, and the wind is south by southwest. We're 4 leagues off the thing. It's like, we've seen more evidence of people this morning, and we've gone and we went ashore and we left some gifts, and so basically they probably, like, let's be honest, probably not completely altruistically. Again, it's all about looking at the American experience, which would have occurred sort of 50 years earlier, where they're looking at trying to form a legal basis for things. So if they take something, they leave something behind. Like they're saying, oh no, I didn't steal this. There's been an exchange. But
everyone's got an agenda.
Yep. So, but showing, but yeah, like it wasn't as I thought. Like, bloody natives are restless, quick. But there was certainly skirmishes. There were some that were interested and there were some that were not interested, and in the writing, which was interesting, it was like, yep, these people definitely were obviously not interested in contact with us, so we left them be. Like it wasn't right. Well, we
battlements at 2.
Yeah, we formed an English box and annihilated them.
Yeah.
There was none of that. But again, I just found that this was the original writing, and it was he was referring to some of his own lower ranks worse than he was referring to the Aboriginals. It was just, again, it was pretty, the guy was
reasonable.
It was pretty reasonable. The guy was an explorer, and there was definitely some skirmishes in there where they were being aggressive, and he sort of said, well, shoot above their head. Like, he certainly wasn't saying, there was nothing,
don't mow them all down.
yeah, there was nothing punitive about it. It was like, put some shot above, and I think there was 1 or 2 cases where they said, you're going to need to shoot him, but load light shot. So where it was basically just peppering him up, just putting a bit of salt up his bum, or at Chappelle, to make him go away, so they didn't have to kill him.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, so that was interesting, but we digress a little bit. But yeah, like there does seem to be, again, there's just going to be more and more of this voice thing, and it'll be interesting if it gets up.
When's it meant to go?
Sometime this year.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. Like again, these are complicated problems, and they're always complicated by people butting their noses in and having an opinion where one isn't really necessary or wanted or required. And
I only have an opinion. That's all I have. I do not know anything about it, but I do have an opinion on when I look at money that I think is going to be dumbly spent. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. You don't know. And again, you have an initial reaction, and the initial reaction is, yeah, this is probably a waste of money.
But then I also think, are they just floating the idea?
Who knows?
Because does it ever actually get done?
Who knows?
Like all this shit, everyone talk about this and then nothing ever comes of it.
Who knows?
So
I'm very wary of
on the ground. Like what's happening?
Yeah, I'm just wary of all of it. I'm very wary of making laws. Like on one hand, I'm very wary about making of laws based on the amount of melanin you have in the skin. But and on the other hand, well, that's not really what they're doing. They're doing it based on a segment of society that just also happens to have melanin on their skin, but also is experiencing profound disadvantage. Fine. And there's plenty of white trash in Tassie that having a problem, and they do get money, and they do, and these are all the things, but it's just all the, us included, right now, the chattering classes all having an opinion on it, that riles people, and politicians using it for their own gain, either to further their drive towards the left or further their drive towards the right.
Anyway.
It's as with everything, a real good, if there was some trust in some journalism and get some real middle of the road, just report the facts. And
please.
Please. And it would be great, like if you basically, this is an extreme case, but you basically went in there for a week and you wore body cams and you had your other cameras on and you filmed everything, literally to the morning of you the journalist get up and you can watch him have this first piss in the morning for the whole thing, unedited, and that is put up along with the report. So you do your report, and which becomes a bit of an editorial and all the rest of it.
His report, yes. So the government report.
Yeah, no, he does a report and he says like this, this is a problem that's going on, and here is all of the unvarnished,
where's the reality television shows of?
Well, that would be called exploitation, wouldn't it?
But I don't mean like fucking Love Island or whatever the hell it is. But I mean, where's the document? Or maybe I haven't. Maybe there is. I don't know.
Well, you do get.
Where's the docos?
You get the Four Corners sort of stuff and all the rest of it.
I haven't. Yeah,
and I'm sure
anymore.
It's relatively impartial, because all those sort of shows, they've been around a long while and they've got pretty professional journalists in them. Give us the unedited footage as well. Let everyone else pour through it. Let everyone let that would be my view.
Half the time people just go, "Oh, it's fucking fake. It's fake.
Of course,
faked it."
And that's the point.
Yeah.
So do whatever you can to make to alleviate that thing. It's like, because then, if any kind of fake narrative did sort of grow up, as a part of that, at least some other people would be able to go, well, no. You can see from this time to this time, I can see where you've edited it and cut and turned and formed that narrative, but you can see from here to here that didn't happen. Or that did happen, and, well, shit, all right.
Well, that sucks. Let's sort that out.
Yeah. So,
it just seems that everything is about gender or race.
It's because humans need a certain amount of stress in their lives.
Creating
and
problems.
They create problems. And
can we just put people into buckets of, right, you need this shit, you need that shit?
Well, that's what essentially they're doing. But, yeah, it's...
You're fine, you go and get a job.
Yeah. There's... It's
You're a lazy shit, get off your ass.
It's one or the other, like the digital thing's really easy. Like, zero welfare, none. Or complete welfare state from the cradle to the grave. It's when you're in the middle, as Australia is, that there's... Yeah, that's where all the conjecture is. It's difficult, and all I can say is, I'm not sure, and you'd have to go and, it's not a case of me saying you need to do your own research. It's not a case of that, but you'd go and have a look, and you go to somewhere like Alice Springs, and you just look at these places. I remember when hotspots used to be places like Taree in New South Wales. You couldn't.
Dubbo.
Yeah.
I wonder how Dubbo is going at the moment. I like Dubbo. I thought that was. No, I enjoyed it. Yep, I thought it was good. Went for a road trip out there.
Just sort of one of those places.
It was changing because again, you drive through Orange.
Already gentrified country towns.
I was going to say, where else do you go through that's already... Probably Orange is the main one. There was something
Orange,
else.
Wagga, maybe.
No, not Wagga. Don't remember that. Anyway, but we went through Orange and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, got to Dubbo and there was wineries starting and there was restaurants in town. We stayed at a motel.
Was this you or I or somebody else?
No, this was Mum. I think that was Mum and me, my mum and maybe a sister. Okay. I can't remember if there's 3 of us or 2 of us. But we went to the zoo and wandered around, did some touristy things.
But let me show you. Let me stop
Nearly
you right.
got run off the highway by a truck.
Yeah, stop you right there and show you this is how the contention already starts. Maybe then it's like you're just out there doing a whole middle class thing.
Totally.
And you're looking at isn't it nice, the gentrification everywhere. They've ruined it. You've ruined it for the poor because now they can't afford to live there, and you've done this, and there's always, doesn't matter what happens. There's always
not
something
one-sided too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've ruined it for the poor, but you've created 55 jobs over there for local people.
Are they full-time jobs?
Are they
quality jobs? Yeah, it's just they're the things you get.
Would you prefer to not have a job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why with that one where you want full raw footage to be able to take advantage of, and every complainant. This is why I was promised in the future we're all supposed to be wearing silver jumpsuits and we should have rank, like in these militaristic futures. That's why I'd like to before you present your opinion, I'd like what are your qualifications, madam?
Because yes, my opinion is worth the same as everyone else's.
Did you finish high school?
I'm
have you just recently gone through a particular bitter divorce and hate all men? Are you a moron? Like what?
Don't know.
Does the lady doth protest too much? Are you making up for 20 years of
pent-up aggression?
Of staunch One Nation support, and now you've decided...
What happened to her? Is she still around?
Oh, fucking oath, she's still around.
Oh, I haven't heard.
Absolutely.
Boo. Again, I don't really read the
Well,
news.
I think Latham's taken over quite a bit of that as we sort of skip from one subject to another.
I don't follow him.
Yeah, I do. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Is he still down the neck of the woods that we used to live in?
Yeah. Even more so, I think. I don't think he's at Cawdor anymore. I think he's actually moved into Wollondilly proper.
Jesus.
Good
luck. He just swings to where he knows he's going to get the reaction from.
There's 2 ways you can talk about our Mr. Latham. Either he was Gough Whitlam's favourite son.
He's a shit stirrer.
And he's that. And he was he's wonderful. He's a wonderful bundle of contradictions. He got the University Medal for economics,
which most people are.
Yes, of course. And he had the seat of Werriwa, which was Gough Whitlam's seat. That's Labor.
Where's Werriwa?
Somewhere in New South Wales. That's a Labor heartland.
Right.
I can't. It's been probably redistributed about 20 times since then, so I don't know. But anyway, so Southwest, Cabramatta-ish, it was in there, and sort of around there. Parramatta Eels sort of territory, You
have no idea where you are. Keep going.
Blacktown-y, sort of out that way, west and south.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Sports ain't your thing.
Bits of Parramatta. I don't know. What was my point? Yeah, so he was lefty like that. But then you also agree, has just politics moved on, and has the left gone more left and the right gone more right, to the point that someone who was which he was in the right wing of the Labor Party.
Yeah.
So every party, so the right wing of the Labor Party and the left wing of
The more centred.
the Liberal Party. Oh, the centre might be here, and the right wing of the Labor Party is probably past.
But I mean, they're in that bit,
Yeah.
not here and here.
Yeah. But anyway, but the point that I'm making is the right wing of the Labor Party and the left wing of the Liberal Party, you can't get a fucking razor blade between them.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're likely to agree on most things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They might slightly disagree with how to get there, but generally, the wets and the dries on either side of those parties are going to be pretty bloody close. So that's his argument. Is always going. I've always been to the right. I've been to the right. I've been to the far right of the left.
Which isn't saying much these days.
No, and that's like when people try and understand American politics. Like if the centre's here in the centre, and the Labor Party in Australia is sort of here, say, and the Greens are there, and the Liberals are sort of here. Well, which I should be doing this way to camera, but what you're looking like at American politics or any other country's politics, so the Democrats start sort of here, just to the right, and then the GOP is like
the Democrats are over here at the moment.
Bits of them, but generally
woke shits over here.
Well, yeah, sure. Like that's the extreme left of it. But let's look at the major policies of the Democrats in America. Do they have universal healthcare? No. Do they have a living minimum wage? No. Do they like guns? Oh yes. Do they like? They're to the right. It's just.
Well,
like,
it was found slightly different to here. It was founded on people having slight to the right, like
they were religious conservatives.
Yeah.
That even the English went, oh, can we get these buckle-headed fucks out of our fucking country? Look at the hats. Just get on the Mayflower
and pumpkin pie.
Fuck off.
Got my pie dish.
So,
anyhow.
Yeah. So anyway, so we digress. So we've very cautiously
So I hope
discussed
everyone,
the Aboriginal,
including the Indigenous communities, have a happy Valentine's Day.
Valentines to Aboriginals. Awesome.
God.
So the only things that I had to mention was that we watched Clarkson's Farm.
It's awesome.
We binged
You've watched
that.
it twice.
I got and that's another thrilling newsworthy news is yes, I fell off the wagon a bit on the diet on the Sunday. I didn't exactly sit there stuffing lollies into my face, but I did drink probably a bottle and a half of wine and a bit of
Are you enjoying yourself?
bit of whiskey and had a party for one. So I drank what I would normally drink by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but I was a bit hungover yesterday. So anyway, so yes, in my inebriated state, I just thought, oh, that's great, I'm going to watch that again. And so I started watching that again. So yeah, it's wonderful television, and it's just showing him it's just certainly the second season of it, more than half of it was just him arguing with bureaucrats and council.
Well, I saw I don't know where it was this morning, it might have been a tweet. One man said, Season 1 was Jeremy Clarkson fighting nature, Season 2 is Jeremy Clarkson fighting council.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very true.
And all I keep thinking
so
of
I don't
is
know what Season 3 is going to be, because they're doing that
winning,
now. Yeah,
I would imagine.
Because far out.
Oh, you just seeing people...
I've already had a dig at them on Instagram.
Yeah, you just see clear, like that, and that's what I've said. Like, there's no doubt that Jeremy Clarkson, when he wants to be, and he wants to be most of the time, is a monumental knob. No doubt about it. And a shit stirrer, and all those sorts of things. And it's made him very wealthy and very famous. But people also like him. And he's genuinely he's just a naughty schoolboy.
Yeah.
Like he's not. He doesn't seem to have a bad bone in his body.
It's not malice. Like there's no malice
no,
there.
It's just a piss take. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
He's a prankster.
Yeah.
And
he's genuinely trying to make the farm work without shoving all of his money into it, because he knows that there are other people who can't do that. So he's trying to show that the other farmers who, especially that poor dairy woman, I can't remember her name, every time she comes on the TV I just want to cry, because the look on her face is just, she's about to cry every time we see her.
Because she's drowning in debt.
60 cows lost to tuberculosis because they won't kill the fucking badgers.
Yeah. So
and what do the badgers do? Nothing.
Yeah.
They don't provide any meat. They don't provide any tourism. They don't provide anything for the local.
They have a right to live.
Fuck the badgers.
They don't. They should.
That's going to be the name of today.
Fuck the badgers. No, it'll just be.
I'm going to make T-shirts. But, yeah,
it seemed. Well, that's which I haven't looked up. Where I sort of said, are these badgers ill because of tuberculosis? In which case, well, they should be culled. Easy. Or are they just a well for tuberculosis? And that's what I'd say is the case. Just like your cat is a well for. Cat scratch fever.
Yeah, what's it called?
Why is my brain not working?
Cat scratch. That's what it's called now.
Anyway, produces lymphadenopathy. There is feline AIDS.
I know.
Oh God, why is my brain not working?
Not today.
Anyway,
the badgers suck.
Yes. Anyway, so
but the TV's excellent.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, if your cows get that, so they'll kill the cows, no problem there.
So she's lost 60.
Half the herd.
Yeah. So she said they usually have 120. How they're... Well, he said that, didn't he? I was about to say, how are they making any money? They're not. She brings in milkshakes and milk to his diddly squat.
And his farm was the only thing keeping their heads above water. And then council closes it. We can't have people parking on the verge. Fine. Well, we'll build a car park. No, you're not allowed to build a car park. Why not?
It's just a personal vendetta.
Yeah.
And they're harming him and because there was the pig farmers, there was her, there was the geese lady who didn't look well.
No.
She looked like she had cancer anyway. Like, for fuck's sake, can you give him a break, please? Who else? There was someone else as well. Oh, there was the veggie lady, because they were all forming that co-op, and then so there was 6 to 8 other local farmers, and they just went no. I'm
trying to, with all those sort of things, I believe nothing of what I see. Well, these days, nothing of what I hear and only half of what I see. But even my view is, if 10% of that is accurate, only 10%, then it's egregious.
Yeah.
Because it was so over the top. Because even the voice of reason, which is the land agent, Charlie Island, just going, no, you can't build that there.
Yeah. Anyone else can.
Yeah. But you can't.
Yeah. And he's never seen anyone denied that before, ever.
All these sorts of things, and you're just thinking... You go, yeah, and
so anyone, you should go and watch it. Everyone should watch it.
Yeah, it's really good television.
It's really funny.
It's funny and it's really
sad.
Good television, and it's sad and all those things. Something for everybody. But yeah, the second half of just seeing these people, and I can compare it to here, and here being Australia, even the bottom Tasmanian bit of it. I think the red tape here is ridiculous, and the involvement here is, and we will have a separate podcast one of these days, which we'll actually plan about, let me tell you about the council. And it is nothing compared to those people. UK. Nothing. And here has been lawyers at 10 paces and it not making any sense, and
we're not dealing with Brexit.
No.
Their money's just disappearing, and then and everyone just goes, ugh.
Well, they say you have to diversify, or we want to diversify. No, well, which is another point that I had on here with housing in Tasmania, which is, and there's an article at the moment which is just hilarious, right? So here in Tasmania, I
think I saw this one. The
stupid woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here in Tasmania, they're screaming at like
Bruny Island.
Yeah. Who cares? But so this is a bigger thing. So. And mark my words on this one, this is where I'll be Mystic Meg, but I think how they're whipping up hysteria about housing in Tasmania to the point that the government's going to start nationalising some housing stock. To the point, not saying it's going to happen, but the way they're whipping it up, because it's quite the opposite when I explain this story. But And anyone going, oh, he's paranoid. It's like, well, it did happen during COVID. It did actually happen. For a period of time during COVID,
Tasmania
for
was
our
the
properties,
worst.
Tasmania was the worst. Well, I don't know if that is true, but let's just say let's just work on things we had in Tasmania and New South Wales. Of our residential properties, we no longer controlled them. We couldn't kick people out, despite them damaging the place. We had to accept that they wouldn't pay rent. One state did pay some towards that, one state didn't. for our commercial properties, all of a sudden we're in business with the tenants. We had to reduce the rent. We didn't in our case. We were fortunate. But legally, if the guy, we must have been one of the few, that if the guy decided, I only want to pay half rent, well, that's all you're getting. And that's it. No, half of it had to be... Oh, and of that, there was some, like, they didn't have to pay this much and this much they had to pay back. And no, but there was certainly people like, no.
Anyway, back to the lady.
So that was my point, yeah. So that was my point about, I think they're whipping it up so much in Tasmania that they're talking about this sort of stuff. So that's what I'm saying. They think there's a huge rental crisis down here, right? And for reasons we could explain why we don't think there is one.
No.
So here's this woman on Bruny Island complaining about... So they're literally complaining about 3 trees getting knocked down in this 3-hectare development.
On an island off the coast of Tasmania.
On an island off the coast of everything that no one could give a shit about. And a 3.5-hectare property resulted in the loss of 3 white gums, an important species for the survival of the critical endangered 40-spotted pardalote. You could beat me around the head and neck with a 40-spotted pardalote, and I wouldn't recognise it. Like, I don't...
Never heard of it.
Pardalote, not pardadote,
How do you spell it?
Pardalote.
Okay, one moment, please.
And it's got 40 spots.
P-A-R...
Is there a 40...
What was it? P-A-R...
D-A-L-O-T-E.
L-O-T-E. It's a bird.
Is it?
I thought it was an animal.
I thought it was a badger. Okay.
How the fuck gives a fuck about... No, there we go. There's the spotted one.
Right,
I'm sorry, but he doesn't live there permanently.
He's got wings.
He flies in and out. He's a FIFO. He's a FIFO worker. He can go back to the other bit.
So anyway, we're talking about 3 gum trees. Like, as I sit here now,
Plant
I'm
some
surrounded...
more.
Do you know how many gum trees we own? We own thousands and
Show me a
thousands
photo of next door to the 3 hectares that they're complaining about. Are there gums on that one?
Yeah,
I'm sure
there
Mr.
are.
Fly in, fly out is happily sitting
I'm seeing,
over there.
Well, I'm seeing a photo right here of a gum tree
very
being
pretty.
down behind a whole bunch of other gum trees, so I'm sure it's fine. But
He's
anyway,
lovely.
Here's the same people going, you can't knock this down to build houses, and then on the same token, the other side of their mouth they'll be saying it's classic NIMBYism.
Not in my backyard. Yeah.
Classic NIMBYism. Oh yes, we should have this. Oh, but not here. This wouldn't be appropriate.
The reason that they cleared this
was to put in 10 houses.
Yeah, it's a subdivision.
Yeah, it's a subdivision. But the thing that I get shitty about, which has been a problem here, is right. Here's these people, like they're all, we're devastated and we're right. So here's 10 people living around this lump of wood, this lump of land, right? That's been there forever. I guarantee, and I'll bet $1 million on it. Anyone can collect that piece of land's been for sale for $1 million years for $10,
and no one bought it. Not even her.
So she, if she could give a shit, I'll give you 2 options. One, you buy it outright. You stick a fence around it or not. You make a hedge and you leave it to the thing. You take the probably $100,000 hit and you buy it, and it's your backyard. And you're going to keep it for posterity.
I've seen that here multiple times. Tassie's very prone to that, where they put a covenant on it.
Well, that's
and
what I'm getting to. You're running ahead.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. You should read my mind to know what I'm going to say.
There you go.
So option A, she just buys it. Option B, and this is what you're heading towards. They all pass the hat around. Let's say they're all modestly healed, right?
Yep.
They all pass the hat around and they do up a contract like, it's going to cost, either way this is going to cost some money, but you need to put your fucking money where your mouth is. All right, so we all pass the hat around, we scrape up the money, we set aside another 10 grand that we shift around for legal fees, and this is what we do. We go, right, we put an environmental covenant on this land that's pretty fucking watertight that says until the day, in perpetuity, until the day dot, someone can only build on this little bit, or they can't build on it, or whatever, or only so much of this is cleared. Yeah, you can make up any options you like.
I think it was 99 years, the one that I saw.
And then you get that put in there, you get it registered. I'm sure we can all hold hands. They'll all hold hands and sing Kumbaya, and they'll get that through no problem, right? And then they land bank it for a while until it's worth more money, and they cover their costs, and they fucking flip it, and they sell it. And someone else buys it, and that covenant is in place. So there you go. It cost you nothing in the end. You got all your money back. You might have even made a modest profit.
Put it towards the Bruny Island Residents Association.
Or the spotted Pardalote.
Or the Pardalote Appreciation Society.
That's right. And you can sit there and you can have all the meetings you want, and you can form committees and dissolve committees and produce minutes.
So much coffee and tea for those meetings. Well done, you.
Iced Vova, environmentally sensitive vegan iced Vovas.
Get matching hats.
So you can do all of that.
Matching binoculars for twitches.
Because we had that here, one of the problems we had here. So this land that we're sitting on here literally was for sale for yonks and yonks and yonks, and then someone bought it, and then they were sitting on it for yonks and yonks and yonks. And at the top end of our property, there's an area that's supposedly well known with four-wheel drive people, and every time they've come through here, which we haven't had for ages, which has been really good, but originally when they were still sort of coming through here, where I'd say, when I'd cross paths them when they're like driving through the middle of my property, it's like, hey guys, how are you? Just so you know, this is private property. If you come and go, I'm not too fussed. But if you want to stay here and have a fucking gutter party, as we've observed time and time and time again at the top of our property, including so they just they make a fucking mess, and then they
rubbish, clothes, fire pits, ruts,
and they just destroy the joint.
They're destroying the actual
They'll
land.
cut fences.
They did that to the neighbours.
They do all that, but you still get the. My great grandfather and fucking have been coming here for years. We've been, my ancestors fought and died for blah blah blah. Then why didn't you buy it, you cheap prick?
No.
You could have bought it for $400 an acre.
Yeah. So this
recently.
Is it done and dusted? Like they
cleared
it?
Oh yeah.
They're whinging after the fact.
Yeah, after the fact, and the developer has been handed a fine, $2,700.
So Tassie, it hurts.
So that again reeks to me of the council going.
Well, he must have had something approved for him to do it, or did you just
the
do
whole thing's been approved, and
you've had your opportunity. It's gone out to public, whatever the fuck.
But this is the case of when I said on earlier podcasts how different it is when Guns was running the place and all the rest of it, and still is now. Forestry comes through where the government is, the single shareholder.
There wouldn't be a single Pardalote left anyway.
They fucking lay waste to all of it, and they go, "Oh, that's the wrong part," and they go,
"Oh well,
oops,
yeah,
sue us." So I mean.
Whatever.
It's just lip service to these people, but the thing, the two-facedness of it, is just on one hand, we've got to have all this, and on the other hand, not there, not near me,
not next door.
And that's all the ones banging on about the homeless in town, which we've talked about, and all the rest of it. So how many of these have you billeted in your house? Yeah. Oh no,
I don't want them in my house.
Oh no, that wouldn't be appropriate, not for little Chloe and Tarquin.
Oh, fuck. Whatever.
Because it's not safe. Yeah, because they're not safe in your house, and they're not safe in that fucking park either. Yeah. So that's always the thing. So
what does she want? Nothing. She's just whinging.
Just I'm unhappy.
Good-o. Okay, Karen, fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much. Here's your options.
I'm unhappy too. Do you want to know what I'm unhappy about? Yeah. How long you got?
You want an Aston Martin, but you just can't justify the cost. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. My husband refuses to build me a new.
We're going to get one of those.
Refuses to build me a garage suitable.
It's coming.
Oh, it's coming.
I need it.
So yeah,
need it.
We could.
Anyway, all right. Whatever, Karen. How's this news?
Well, it's news that 3 gum trees were. Today in Tasmania, 3 gum trees were cut down. On Bruny Island, which, for whatever reason, I don't know why I've never been on the son of a bitch.
No, I think it's lovely.
But
I'm sure it's got more than 3 gum trees.
I'm sure it's got
now it's got 3 less, but...
Plant 70.
So, I mean, I don't give a fucking... Pardalote doesn't care. He's over there. Or if you don't like it, Karen, fucking move.
It's just... And she looks like that. We've got a woman possibly wearing a wig with a jumper tied around her neck and a polka dot dress. Assuming it's a woman, trans. I don't know. Because that.
What's her name?
Is it Trans Fashions?
What is her name? Really? Is it Karen?
No, it isn't. It's Susie.
Oh dear.
So there's a Susie. We won't mention a surname for when.
Susie.
She's clearly litigious. Well, maybe not, because she's not going to put her money.
Susie?
She's not going to put her money where her mouth
Did they say the
is.
endangered Pardalote?
Oh, I'm sure it's very endangered.
What are you doing for the Pardalote, Susie?
Well, I'm complaining bitterly. But this is the quote. This is the quote that I like so much. Quote: I've been here for 43 years, and the patch of land is very endearing to us because we all live around this, and we look for the wildlife. We know the wildlife is there. Why don't you fucking buy it?
43 years is a long time.
43 years ago, that land would have been
$3.
worth a case of beer.
Yeah.
5 years ago, that was worth maybe 2 or 3 cases of beer. Like, people do not appreciate how cheap the land is in Tasmania historically.
Which slightly comes back to our other point about housing. They could fix the housing problem tomorrow.
Of course.
But they don't want to.
Well, my view has always been, build Nissan huts. Let them go glamping.
Yeah.
Like, just smash it out as quickly as possible. Get the Chinese on it.
How about you get rid of some of your red tape so that more people can build shit? How about you import
They
some tradies? How about you skill up the people here who don't have jobs?
How about you let them build the fucking things themselves?
Yes,
Like, there's so many
provide
different...
them with materials and off
There's
they go.
so many... Go back and have a look at that
There's all
fucking video I mentioned in that
options.
other podcast where there were...
Yeah. Bruny
We
Island.
used to do it differently.
Anyway, all right, I need to go now.
Yep, I think we wrapped it up, so I have no idea
Fuck off, Karen.
Yeah, Karen can fuck off.
Plant some more.
You know...
Whatever.
That's it. And every farmer...
Oh, yes.
Me included,
We're
I'm not
farmers.
not even a farmer's toe rag yet,
Yeah.
but it's like... Let me knock one... For every tree knocked down, plant 50. Fine, where do I sign?
Yeah.
No problem.
All
No
good.
problem at all.
Next.
We've planted more trees here than what we've cleared.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was my other thing about Clarkson's farm, too. It's like, do you like fucking food? Because, Jesus Christ, you ain't going to have any soon.
society is
No
only...
milk.
Yeah.
No barley.
Society
No
is...
pig. Well, they couldn't get rid of their pigs, remember?
Yeah.
Because they were importing the EU ones. Like, Jesus, you are going to have a big problem.
Society is two missed meals away from anarchy. And
that's why Tassie's good too. Tassie produces a lot of food, and
we could produce more, but that again, to really wrap this up, is like when I can publish it. The agricultural report we had to do, we had to pay somebody thousands of dollars to write a report to show how this rural resource land wasn't fit for rural resource usage, so we could put a house on it. And yet then still they said you can't touch any of it, despite your report that we've ticked off that allows you to build a house on it. Oh, we all think this is priority habitat.
And then...
For what?
What do we zone now?
Agriculture. They've rezoned it all with the stroke of a pen. And I need to go and check it again. So with the stroke of a pen, all these priority habitat areas has all evaporated, and now we're right to go and lay waste to the joint. As long as you have a forestry you get Charlie Island out here with his we'll need a forestry management plan and a this and a that, and all just
bullshit
boilerplate crap that you cut and paste and fling in a document.
It's just keeping people in jobs.
It's just moving around little pieces of green paper, and and then we can essentially do what you like. And so often when you're dealing with remember we said that there's the good half of council and the bad half of council. The good half of council basically go, look into my eye. Just fucking, the voice is low and they say, just tick these fucking boxes,
fill
guys.
Just
fill in the form.
Lodge the
pay
form.
Your fucking
pay
money.
the invoice, and off you go.
Okay, because on one hand they were always so pro-development, you know, because the other point. No one has done anything with this land except raise it by fire and heavy machinery every 20 years for literally the last 150 years. And now all of a sudden, now it's all private. It's not. It's shit.
Scrub.
It's just
not
dirty.
all of it. The Tarkine and there's a few lovely regions that should be World Heritage listed, and they are.
2/3 of it. How much do you want? So that's why, again, it'd be really interesting. This again, the rantings of of the landed gentry, but it would be really interesting to just for an experiment for 3 years as a part of the simulation. We just hive it off and say, "Yep, green policies. You guys do. You make it all up. Let's see where we are in 5 years."
God.
You know where we'll be? Exactly where we are now, because they start having to make hard decisions.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not all about
people need to live somewhere.
Oh no, it's
Well, people need to live somewhere. Or where are you going to put them?
trees,
Corrugated iron.
tree houses.
You live up a gum tree. Oh no, but you're going to have to evict the 40 spotted
Pardalote.
Pardalote. I seriously thought that. When I hear spotted, I think quoll.
Yeah, same. I thought it
Some
was some
sort
kind
of
of quoll
mammal or-
animal. Yeah,
or some
possum-y thing.
Bastard Tasmanian
Marsupial.
half marsupial mammal.
That's a bird.
Something that
A
only...
bird that flies away and doesn't actually, like, it might make a nest, but it can make one over there too.
When it's a gum tree, I understand when they're talking about like some of the more... I don't know, maybe this thing's more pickier than a wedge-tail eagle. I don't know, but...
Maybe.
Anyway, on that note, off you go, my children. Beware of the 40 spotted pardalotes
You need something
and the
better
Susies.
than that.
No, that'll do for a while.
God. All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.